Hey guys, I hope you had a great day. So, tonight we're going to go over Martin Luther King Jr. So, let's begin. Martin Luther King Jr. was an important leader and activist in the civil rights movement. He was born on January 15th, 1959 in Atlanta, Georgia. He skipped 9th and 12th grade and entered college at the age of 15. Martin Luther King Jr. first attended Morehouse College and received a bachelor's degree in sociology. He also went to a theological seminary and received a degree in divinity, which means religious studies. And later, he received a doctorate at Boston University. Dr. Martin Luther King married Coretta Scott in 1953. They had beautiful children named Yolanda, Martin Luther King III, Dexter, and Bernice. He became a pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama, and he was a member of the NAACP. King decided to combat Jim Crow laws in the South. These laws were state and local laws enforcing racial segregation in the southern United States. Segregation made African Americans use different facilities, services, and opportunities such as housing, medical care, employment, and transportation. These were called separate but equal facilities, which were separate but rarely equal. One of these separate but equal transportation services included a rule that African Americans must ride in the back of the bus. As you can see here, there's a sign for colored passengers, which they sit in behind the white passengers. In 1955, he took leadership of the Montgomery bus boycott, where Rosa Parks was arrested for not giving up her seat and moving to the back of the bus for a white man. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted a year, and on November 13th, 1956, the Supreme Court declared segregation on buses was unconstitutional. Here they are in the boycott. Here they are when they realized that they won the Supreme Court. In 1957, along with other civil rights activists, Martin Luther King Jr. founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to organize and conduct nonviolent protests for civil rights. In 1959, Martin Luther King Jr. traveled to India to study Gandhi's principles of nonviolence. Gandhi's principles of peaceful resistance had a lasting impression on Martin Luther King Jr. He used these principles to create sit-ins, which we see here, peaceful protests like these, and boycotts where they would not go or shop in certain places. Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested many times during his protests for civil rights. On June 23, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. led a freedom walk in Detroit, Michigan, and 125,000 people took part in the walk. On August 28, 1963, a historic march on Washington, D.C. was created. It was for jobs, freedom, racial equality, and the end of discrimination. This is how many people showed up. Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. Here we will listen to this speech.
It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is a faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee."
It's extremely important for you to watch, so if you want to go back and watch, you are more than welcome to. We are going to use this video as part of our lesson for tomorrow. We're going to do a hands-on activity and create our own I Have a Dream mobiles. We will be connecting cloud papers to clothes hangers, and we will hang them all around the room. On October 14th, 1964, Martin Luther King became the youngest man, at the age of 35, to receive a Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolence. The effects of the I Have a Dream speech are very important. Congress passed the 1965 Immigration Act. This law ended the racial quota system for immigrant groups. People of color began entering the nation at rates equal to or greater than white people. This movement forced Congress to take action, which it did through the 1964 Civil Rights Act. This law made it legal to separate people based on race, color, or national origin in almost all areas of public life. This request came after a savage beating of protesters in Selma, Alabama. The 1965 Voting Rights Act made places as the federal government before making any changes to election laws. A lot of people in the government would encourage African Americans to not vote. That's why these voting rights have been in place. There were also tests that African Americans were forced to take that they could not pass. Unfortunately, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4th, 1968 on the balcony of Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. Like we were just looking at with President Ronald Reagan, on November 2nd, 1983, he signed a bill to declare Martin Luther King Jr. Day in remembrance of all the great things he did to fight for civil rights. He was the first African American to be granted a national holiday. The effects Martin Luther King Jr. had on America are never ending. Today, African Americans are granted the same rights as any white man or woman, thanks to Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. America has come so far as to having elected Barack Obama as our first African American president.